this up. You cannot make up the magnitude of evil we're facing as a society. And it's just so creepy how they've got all these well-meaning idiots that will lie, cheat, steal, do anything as long as you tell them you're the good guy. Yeah, we're going to grow the opium and ship it out into America and Europe and everywhere else as a scourge on the streets because we're the good guys. We're going to kill Pat Tillman because he's shooting his mouth off against the war. You're all going to get promoted. Let's frag him. But then the Army coroner wouldn't lie and put on there it was homicide. He was killed. He was shot at 3 feet away with a M16 set on 3-shot burst. And later it came out what happened. They shot him from 100 yards away. He got behind the rock and he said, "Why'd you do that to me?" Hey, stop, team, stood up. They tried to kill him again. He got behind there. They snuck up on him and shot him in the face. I mean, the military's full of people. If they tell you, they'll kill Navy SEALs. Oh, all this patriotism. Really, I talked to a Navy SEAL right here in Austin, Texas. And his best buddies in SEAL Team 6, and he wasn't killed in the helicopter that blew up in the fake Bin Laden raid, or the one that blew up packed with 20-plus SEAL members. And the word is, well, yeah, they know a bomb was on it. They think Al-Qaeda got a bomb on the helicopter. But then they wondered, how did Al-Qaeda do that? And why did they all get concerned that day? Because they'd never been put that many of them on one of those old National Guard Chinook 1960s era helicopters. And they weren't sent out to save a group that was pinned down. So why'd the media lie? I mean, they all see that it's a PR stunt. They all knew there were complaints when it happened, and they know there was a bomb on the helicopter, but Al-Qaeda must have done it. Yeah, right. They're at the military base. Al-Qaeda knew that that helicopter was going to have a bunch of Navy SEALs sardined like a game of telephone booth into it, and then it was going to go blow up, and they'd have a fake mission you were going on to be heroes for the public back at home. Kind of like Pat Tillman was charging a hill, fighting Al-Qaeda, going up to the top of the hill. Just like the SEALs were going to save Army Rangers pinned down. And then it turned out, oh no, it was a resupply effort. Turns out there was no mission. They admit there was nothing. They just said, get on the helicopter and fly to this point, and the helicopter blows up with all of them on board. And the people that investigated, the SEALs that are alive, think Al-Qaeda stuck a bomb on the helicopter. Come on, guys. You're so tough. You're so mentally tough. You got it all together. But you're so hyped up in this little cult of serving the New World Order that you don't see you're used like garbage. Our military, you could say what you wanted about it, but pre-1990, they wouldn't let anybody use depleted uranium. Nobody. Because it's a death sentence for everybody that uses it. You might die in a year, you might die in 20, but let me tell you, it's about like smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day and drinking a gallon of Jack Daniels. I mean, it's going to hurt you bad. And I mean, I know the troops. I mean, I know the people. I've got family and who's got family and folks I know who've been sick. And record numbers dying and birth defects. And oh, so what if Fallujah has 14 to 16 times normal level of cancer and birth defects? And then the troops come back, especially from Fallujah, where they blew the whole place up with it. And then they're all dead and dying. And then you got to hear, people going, yeah, we care a lot about the SEALs, so I decked out Jesse Ventura. You don't talk bad about the SEALs. Really? They got you guys using weapon systems. They're going to kill you deader than a hammer. But you don't want to hear that. You're young and tough and you can handle it, and the government wouldn't do that to you. Oh, yeah, did you hear Doug Rocky? Vietnam veteran, combat, right through, service for decades, physicist, other PhDs, writing the book on DU. Most of his team dead. He's had 30-something surgeries. This is a fact that the system doesn't care about you. It's a fact that they could care less. And going back to the Romans, they learned how to give them esprit de corps. They learned how to say, you're the elite of the elite, so they'd break their backs more than anybody. And the special cohorts the more elite cohorts, and they didn't really have medals then. It was what staff and what eagle they got to carry. And they would do anything. They'd march barefoot, for 3 days through snow because they had the top signets, the top logos, the top banners and flags and pennants that they were carrying. And Napoleon wrote about how men would give their lives and throw themselves on the bayonets for little pieces of metal and cloth. He was the one that really deployed medals. Medals. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke when those medals are for empowering a corrupt empire, empowering a corrupt New World Order, while your own homeland, using a fascist Nazi term, by the way, the black uniforms, the Nazi terms, they're adopting all of the fascistic regalia, all the symbols. They're not hiding from it. And then they take the dead and dying veterans' death benefits they've paid for. And, oh, that's not patriotic. Don't talk about it. Dr. Doug Rocky didn't want to talk about it on air, but I got him to. He gets all these hundreds of calls a week, and he calls the local VA. They won't help. He calls the local Veterans of Foreign Wars. He calls the local veterans groups, and they just go, nope, we're not going to help take that veteran to the VA. Well, he's in a wheelchair now. He's been back from Iraq for 2 years, and, he's a staff sergeant, and he's bleeding, out of his gums and out of his hind end, and I can't take all these people. I'm taking to these guys 3 or 4 days a week, and I'm real sick myself. Can you just give me some people to help me? The VA won't come pick them up. They can't. They're overwhelmed. And I heard of this on the news today, that there's so many troops coming back now, the VA can't handle it. And you call the veterans groups up, because they're all the guys that were, in the military when there weren't wars or whatever, and they're all just kind of sitting back drinking beer. They're like, you want us to go take somebody into the VA or try to get a medical treatment? No, I'm going to drink some beer and sit there and call people ragheads and Hajis and watch Fox News. Like, I saw the comments on the New York Post and places, and it's all like, how great. He's right. They are savages. Kill them all. They're going to kill your pension fund. They're going to kill your bank account. They're going to kill the value of your dollar. They're going to take your house when it's paid for. They're going to bring you into a hardcore depression. You think the New World Order is just going to kill some brown people under 15 years of sanctions, 1 million of them that starved to death or died from medical issues? I've talked to the real troops that came back. They said most of those people are so debilitated that every once in a while, if you killed their family, they'd go dig up a AK-47 and try to shoot you, and then it's called an insurgent. All the disease, the sewage running down the streets, the people starving to death. And any time the contractors come in, it was later confirmed, and mow down a bunch of innocent people. It's now been confirmed in federal documents, Blackwater people running around the streets on cocaine, naked, shooting up apartment buildings and cars. And we have videos of similar stuff. And then the people get mad and rise up against it, and so the entire U.S. military lines up and levels the city, and they got snipers racking up their record kills. Well, yeah, because in World War II and Vietnam, they're actually fighting an enemy that shot back. Actual soldiers, actual warriors. It wasn't a bunch of starving people running around with drones and sword robots going in and just carpet bombing everything and heavy artillery leveling. And what, maybe 1,000 people out of tens of thousands decided to stand up? And it's just anybody moving in an area, shoot them. And it's like, oh, it's legendary. We can sit here in an office building and shoot people all day. Oh, it's so manly. Meanwhile, you don't care about those Hajis? Well, the New World Order doesn't care about you. And I know you're listening and laughing right now. You're 30 years old or whatever, or you're 25, and some of your buddies are kind of sick, but whatever. Yeah, that's what they signed up for. And, the VA will take care of them. You don't know why your buddy's kidneys are failing or why there's blood coming out of his gums. Or, yeah, your buddies did just have a baby girl, and her eyes are in the wrong spot, and she's got holes in her heart, and and only got half a kidney. But you know what? So what? Shut up, Alex Jones. You're not patriotic. I know you don't care about anybody because you're a tough guy. But a few years down the road, you're going to go in and get diagnosed with that cancer when you're 35 or 40. And then they're going to cut your chest open and go in there and remove one of your lungs. And you get to have all that fun because it really gets the lungs. You guys are really looking forward to some lung cancer. Those little Hajis got to die real quick. Of course, now they get to have all the deformed children, and people make jokes about that. I've seen the websites that post the photos of the horribly deformed children. I see people making jokes about them going, good, let the Hajis die. Oh, well, your kids are going to be popping out like that, too. And is that going to be real cute and funny, too? Because you see, there's one rule in this universe. What comes around goes around. You reap what you sow. You can call it karma if you want. But I'm not talking about in some next life. I'm talking about now. And I shake with fear. Not of man, but the only thing I fear, God, the universe, justice. I get chills for you. I wouldn't be surprised if God didn't step on this whole country. This decadent, slovenly, 51 million aborted babies, delusional. I guess they deserve to die, too. Are they Hajis, too? Everybody's dehumanized now, including our troops. I wouldn't be surprised if God didn't step on this whole country and crush me and my whole family in the process. I wouldn't slight God just because we're judged. Just because I was standing next to people like you. Now, you can always repent. We can always spiritually make the decision to say what we've all done collectively is wrong. But no, we're going to wear black uniforms and skull hats and act real tough. And, gee, I'm really good. I shot women. I'll do it again. They're savages. They like to scare people. I scared them. I like to scare people. It's weird. In his book, he's like, I like to scare people. And he's on O'Reilly. He's like, I don't like to kill people who want to scare people. All right. They're not shutting down any military, folks. They're getting ready for the next big terror attack. So they can say, well, we were going to cut the military, but now we can't. I've seen it scripted. It's a formula. It's all coming up. Stay with us. You know, our criminal government staged the Gulf of Tonkin to get us into Vietnam, killed 58,000 Americans, wounded over 300,000. They treated those vets like dog meat. I don't mean the hired hippies that were hired to spit on them to make people hate peace movements. I don't mean that psyop. I mean the VA and the rest of them. And there's this whole culture of just saying you support the troops, but then feeding them into meat grinders. And now you're going to have to deal with troops here at home. And let me tell you, I've had them in New York when I'm videotaping them across the street, run over, scream at me, cuss at me, with firearms on their sides. For no reason. And it's not the kind of military I've seen or what my family that's in the military looks like. They've got a special brand of dumbed-down idiot that they're going to have domestically here in the U.S. And then cops bugging their eyes out in black uniforms with machine guns, looking all paranoid like any moment a demon is going to jump out of the bushes and eat them. And then they've got all these groups training the local police to just get ready for all Hades to break loose. And it probably is. The system is going to stage a bunch of terror attacks against their minions to get them all hyped up to have a war with the American people. That's what's being prepared. And I keep telling you this since I went to urban warfare drills more than 13, 14 years ago and witnessed them training to come to your house and take your guns. And you've now seen drills in Iowa just a few years ago of this. And you've seen them calling for troops on the streets in America. And then we've got this guy coming out demonizing Ventura, and it turns out he's part of all of that training. Big Brother in St. Louis schools plans to monitor student activity at home. Again, in Pennsylvania, it was the government itself that announced they're watching you at home on your laptops. And then when people backlashed, they said, oh, we're not doing it. They had said they were doing it, but then in a psyop with no respect for you, they said, oh, I mean, we're not doing it. It's a conspiracy theory. Then it came out in court, of course they were, including watching children in their showers. And now they're announcing Big Brother in St. Louis schools plans to monitor student activity at home. You want to be part of our school? You're going to wear a wristband that tracks your heart rate, everything. Elementary schools in Missouri plan to use wristwatch-like devices called polar active monitors to surveil children, not only at school but also at home. Parkway